So hello, today we have with us Zoe, who's a grad med at Warwick University. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for speaking to me today. So can you talk us through your path leading up to medicine?
Yeah, so I guess I could start with my undergrad. So I did musical theatre as my first degree. And I had no idea that medicine was it was never something that was on my mind. It was never something I thought about. So I sort of graduated in 2015. And by that point, I just knew that I didn't want to be a performer or a teacher, which is what a lot of my friends went on to do. So I just didn't really have a clue by that point what I wanted to do. So I kind of had just kind of a world of options, really. And I did loads of different things to try and figure out what it was that I actually wanted to do. So I went through a few different phases of thinking, maybe I wanted to be a lawyer. So I thought about doing a law conversion degree and then training as a barrister. That was kind of one of the things. And then I sort of realized maybe that's not exactly what I wanted. I looked at psychology because it's like you can do psychology conversions as well. I guess just through a lot of introspection and thinking about what I wanted out of my career and my life, it just medicine just seemed to line up with everything. It wasn't like something happened to make me want to do it. It was just like a long process of thinking, almost making a list and thinking, what do I want out of a career, and matching it to things. But I had no idea that I could do medicine from my background. I just thought it was impossible. I thought I'm going to have to do my GCSEs again. I'm going to have to do my A-levels again. And then I discovered graduate entry medicine, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm first year at Warwick.
Nice. Okay. So just going back to the beginning a bit, how do you do you have a performing background? Was that a particular interest? What drew you to that degree in the first place?
Yeah, so it's just something I've done since I was about 4 years old. So I was in dance and singing and acting classes growing up, and I just loved it. It's a lot of fun and creativity. And then all through secondary school, I was typical theatre kid. And then when I turned 18, I went to stage school for a year. And it wasn't quite the right fit. And then I did my 3-year undergrad, but it was, by the time I got to 19, 20, it was kind of the way that it was all I'd known. So I felt like I didn't have any other choices. It was only really when I got into my 20s that I realized that I can do something else if I wanted to. I wasn't boxed in or anything.
Yeah, I think it kind of feels like at school sometimes, when you're younger, it's kind of well, what do you like and what you're interested in? And you feel like you have to pick then and there what you're going to do going forward.
Yeah, and I think you get boxed into either being creative or academic. And I definitely felt like I was completely boxed into the creative side of things. But actually, I'd always been interested in science. I always had that interest, but it just wasn't made available to me because I was boxed in. So I definitely think that happens for sure.
And do you feel like you can do you see the creative side? Do you get to express your creative side in medicine at the moment?
I guess not so much in first year because it's, especially for grad med, you're doing 2 years of kind of academic learning in one. But I guess the problem solving side of it to me is quite creative, and I feel like I really get to use some sort of, it's not creativity in the same way, but it's creative thinking. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I was quite surprised starting at Bristol that they do an art in medicine module. They do encourage creativity, and it's, I suppose, the sense people would expect it in, which I was quite surprised at. And they are quite big on the more holistic side, bringing in the arts to express, to communicate. So I think medicine does absolutely incorporate a lot of it. I can imagine at the moment you've got a lot to focus on. But yeah, hopefully, do you see it as something in the future you'd like to keep integrated, or do you feel like actually switching over, you found a new space that you're really enjoying?
I think it's a bit of both. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
really enjoying the academic side of things,
Mm-hmm.
just 'cause that's never, until like recently, that wasn't something I got to explore, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm really enjoying just learning every day.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think there is room for creativity in medicine. I
Mm-hmm.
even when we kind of do communication stations and stuff like that, I think coming from a creative background, you really understand people maybe in a way that
Mm-hmm.
some of the scientists might not.
Yep.
And it's not necessarily that they can't or they don't. It's just that, you know, my experience has been
Mm-hmm.
around trying to understand people. That's kind of, um, you know, what the arts is all about at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day. So I feel like it's not like an obvious sort of
Mm-hmm.
connection, but I definitely think there are connections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely where my biggest challenges are coming through, is with the more like the people side. Yeah, so I think it's really nice though to see that actually your different background, you're bringing through a lot of strengths. You know, people maybe tend to box medicine into more academic, whereas actually, you know, you're bringing through some really important skills, and being able to utilize them straight away, you know, in your degree and then going forward.
Yeah, I think because I'm at Warwick and they
Mm-hmm.
take people from all backgrounds, and so it
Mm-hmm.
is like a big melting pot.
Mm-hmm.
So even though there are loads of scientists, you know, there are people from all kinds of backgrounds. I
Mm-hmm.
know someone did like a folklore degree,
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
history of art. There's like
Mm-hmm.
lawyers, nurses. It's really nice actually.
Yeah. Okay. So if we go to that time in between your degree before starting medicine, so obviously Warwick has um, a requirement for hands-on like experience, don't they? So how far in those 5 years, like when did you start leaning towards medicine? When did you start kind of gathering the experience?
So it's probably about 3.5 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first thing I did is I just wanted to know if the
Mm-hmm.
environment, like the clinical
Mm-hmm.
environment, was for me. So I volunteered in A&E in Bristol.
Nice. Okay.
Um,
Nice. Yeah.
yeah, so do you know Southmead
Yep.
Hospital?
Yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I volunteered in A&E in Southmead for about 6 months, and I just absolutely loved it. Like I loved
Mm-hmm.
talking to patients and you know, seeing the process that they go through when they come in, and
Mm-hmm.
just watching all the doctors do their thing, and the
Mm-hmm.
nurses. And then I applied to be a HCA, and so I
Mm-hmm.
worked as a HCA for about 2.5 years.
Nice.
Um, and then I also did Southmead Hospital do like a work experience program every year, and I did that for a week. So I shadowed like neurosurgeons and
Mm-hmm.
bunch of different people. So yeah, I tried to do as much as I could because I knew, you know, coming from the background that I did, and also not knowing any
Mm-hmm.
doctors or anything, that I didn't really know what it was like. So I wanted to make sure that I had a realistic idea of what I
Mm-hmm.
would be getting into.
Yeah. Yeah. And kind of, you were saying, you know, you were seeing what careers fitted what you wanted out of a job. What sort of things was it you were looking for? Like what are you like hoping to get out of medicine, or what do you think medicine fills for you?
Okay, so I probably like remember what I put on my list
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think definitely one of the things was like lifelong learning.
Mm-hmm.
I never wanted to be in a job that I felt was just repetitive every single day and that didn't challenge me. So I feel like medicine, more than probably any other, like I'm sure there's loads of other
Mm-hmm.
careers that have you learning every day, but medicine's always changing, and I like
Mm-hmm.
that. I like that there will always be something new to learn. That's
Mm-hmm.
really exciting to me. Um, I know everyone says this, but I did want to like help people and
Yeah.
feel that I was having a positive contribution on people's
Mm-hmm.
lives. Um, I know that like working as a HC, I'd always come home feel really positive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's probably a number of other things. I like that in medicine you teach, like that's like
Yep.
a part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that. So I didn't want to be solely a teacher, but I definitely like there's an element of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just understanding the human body is just really cool. Like it's
Yeah.
just like it's like I said to someone the other day, it's like you have this map and you don't know how to read it, and then when you do a medical degree you like suddenly understand it, and it's really cool.
I think it comes up in day-to-day life so much as well, and then you start to get knowledge where you're like, I know what it is, or that actually makes sense. I feel like it's just little bits of the map though are kind of becoming clearer, and there's still quite a lot to get through. But yeah, no, I think as well as you maybe get different experiences and realize more about what you do and don't like, it becomes more of a pragmatic decision of, rather than this moment that some people talk about where they're like, oh, I've always wanted to be a doctor. Or I think it can sometimes be a bit intimidating if you haven't had that moment. If you just think, well, it suits what I want out of a job, it suits my skills. But I suppose maybe on a grad med course, do you find that actually people's decisions to do medicine have been more aligned with your own?
Yeah, I definitely think that. I don't know if I've met anyone actually that said that to me, that they've wanted to do it their whole lives. I definitely met people like that at work, I think, and it was intimidating. But yeah, that is one of the good things about grad med, is that most people have gone through like very different but also quite similar paths, in that they've taken more time to figure things out. But yeah, I know what you mean. It can be a bit like, well, I
Yeah.
decided to do this at like
Yeah.
25, not when I was 4 years old. But
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just a good fit, and it just
yeah,
has to, I think also sometimes the idea of a job is a bit of a, when you haven't had a job, there's these ideas of what it will be like, and it's your lifelong career, and almost the day-to-day realities are just a bit more mundane sometimes, aren't they? So actually when you think, okay, well, what do I need out of a career, you just think of it a bit more, yeah, I suppose breaking it down into its parts rather than this big picture.
I think so. I think being older as well, you have, and if you've had, hands-on experience, you have the knowledge of what the reality is day to day, like in the NHS, and that maybe someone that's come at 18 straight through, they might not have that knowledge. And then if they kind of start their foundation years, it might be a bit of a shock. Yeah.
Yeah. And did you, I suppose, it's hard to know yet, but do you feel like you got a good varied experience from those different work experiences? I was talking before about how sometimes when you do a work experience, you get the exciting bits, you get the people want to show you the good bits, but do you feel like you got a well-rounded idea of what the day-to-day job is like?
I think so. I think because I worked as a HCA,
Yeah.
that's really like, I don't think there's really any other job that you can do that will show you the like just sheer reality of the day-to-day life in the NHS. And so I got that. And then on my actual like work experience week, I definitely felt the like excitement of, oh, we're going to see a craniotomy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
that sort of amazing thing that you get to see, but in reality, that's not like, that's a kind of very rare occasion that you get to do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like, and I know that because on that week that I did, I was with quite a few 18-year-olds that were applying, and then that would have been their only work experience. So it would have seemed very exciting for them, I can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. So thinking more about the application process, so was your HCA work what you used for Warwick to go towards your hours for there?
Yeah, so for Warwick, you need two different types of work
Okay.
experience.
Okay.
So you have, it's basically a minimum of 70 hours. It has to be two separate things. So say
Okay.
you're a qualified nurse, which quite a lot of my colleagues are, they still would have had to get like additional work experience to show, and then you have to provide evidence letters for that. So I used my volunteering and HCA work to apply.
And had you already had Warwick in mind while you were doing, like, what kind of order did it come in? Had you looked into the application process and then selected those jobs, or were you working in those jobs and then started to look towards applying?
So I think I knew I wanted to get employment in the NHS regardless, because I wasn't, to be honest, I wasn't sure if I would get
Yeah.
into med school. I didn't know for me with my background. even though I knew that I could apply, it still felt like a bit of a pipe dream. So I sort of had this, not a backup, but like I knew that I sort of wanted to work in the NHS regardless. So I applied to be a HCA whilst I was kind of looking at unis. But yeah, I always wanted to apply to Warwick. Just it felt like the right fit for me. I applied for other grad med courses as well, but yeah, I think Warwick was always where I wanted to go.
And were there many others that you were eligible for coming from a non-science background, or did you have to be quite selective over?
Yeah, so you do have to be quite selective. I think this is something that I'm quite that I hope changes.
Yeah.
I think the evidence is there that actually non-science graduates do really well. But there is, I think, currently only around 5 or 6 places that you can apply for. So I think it's Swansea, St George's, Nottingham, Warwick, and then there are a few undergrad courses as well that you can apply to. But they vary, again, even within them, they vary in their entry requirements. So yeah, it is difficult. It's doable, but it is difficult.
Yeah, I suppose it takes the time as well to work out where you can go and see. Because I think, yeah, some of the undergrad courses perhaps want you to have either A levels or perhaps then do like an access course or something. So you're talking like a couple of years in the lead up to applying.
Yeah. And then obviously it's money to like retake the courses and everything. And I think I looked at applying for Liverpool, and the only reason I think at one point that I couldn't apply there was because I think I like messed up my maths GCSE 12 years ago. And so I kind of emailed them. I was like, that was 12 years ago. Like, but yeah, it's very varied. Some of them are quite strict. So
I think one of the challenges for them is that they get so many applicants. Like, I think the application process is so hard because you are just one of thousands. And even though, in your scenario, you're like, this was 12 years ago, I have all these other things I can bring. To them, they don't necessarily need to worry so much about those individual applicants because they've got, hundreds applying more than the thousands more than they can take on the course anyway. So I think that's one of the challenges. It's kind of quite depersonalized in the end, really, isn't it?
I think so. And I think it is so varied as well, how like, you can have non-science grads can apply to some places but not others. It's weird.
Yeah, I suppose perhaps their teaching is set up differently. I don't know, as in like maybe they skew, but you feel like everyone has to come out with the same knowledge and they have the same sorts of time periods to teach it. So yeah, it does seem it would, I think, more access to medicine for a wider range of people definitely seems, and I think the outcomes, people bring so much to the course. Like, you talk about a lot of different people on your course from different backgrounds. Do you feel like you benefit from that during the teaching?
Definitely. I feel like we all learn so much from each other. And if you're in a group of people, you might all know one thing that everyone else didn't know, and then you kind of work together to kind of learn more. And then just day to day, you learn things from people from different backgrounds. Like, we've got like radiologists, dentists on our course that will teach us things, but then someone from philosophy background might have loads to bring, history, so it is really nice.
And is the course set up to kind of facilitate that transfer of knowledge? Like, I imagine your first year is super busy. So do you still feel like you've got time kind of to explore that with everyone on your course?
Yeah, so we have CBL, which is usually with a wide range of backgrounds. So we have that. Obviously, it's been harder this year because it's mostly online, but then obviously you do meet people from different backgrounds. And Warwick do, because of the pace of the course, they do student-run seminars. So these are just groups of students that basically get together to teach topics every week. They're second years and they teach the first years. And there's a non-science group as well. So for people that might like take a little bit longer to pick up certain topics, there's the non-science teaching group that's there to help. So it's really supportive, actually. And I haven't felt like, because of my background, that I've gotten behind, or anything. So yeah, it's been a positive experience.
Yeah. So started in September. So yeah, how has it been like? What was it like in that first week, kind of starting?
Okay, the first week was intense.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think a lot. I can't speak for them, but I can sort of tell that
mm-hmm.
myself and the other non-science grads at that point were thinking, what have we got
Yeah,
ourselves in for?
yeah,
And it was just a lot of information from day one.
mm-hmm.
And we had our lecturers were going, oh, you know, the non-science grads, you do really well. And once you get further
Mm-hmm.
into the year, you'll
Mm-hmm.
catch up and you won't feel any different. But I think
Mm-hmm.
that first, the first few weeks, we all thought there's no chance. But
Yeah.
they were right, like you do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I, as well, like speaking to biomed grads and stuff, like a lot of them say that they didn't have an advantage. Like
Mm-hmm.
a few of them have said to me, like, I thought my degree would help me,
Mm-hmm.
and it hasn't. So I think that's really interesting as well.
Yeah. Okay. Because I think it's also like, yeah, my biochemistry degree. I don't know how, if you had to quiz me on a lot of basic biochem now, I don't know how much I remember. I suppose it's the process of studying, it's being in the academic environment, which you still get from a non-science degree. So I think you bring in a lot of skills, just generally having been at university.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and how much so, I suppose Warwick I seem really set up for science grads and non-science grads. How much in your application, I suppose, did you showcase your kind of the other skills you have, kind of instead of the kind of showing a science background, like what did you showcase, I suppose, to kind of show that you'd be a good fit for medicine?
So I think it's slightly different with grad med
Mm-hmm.
in that I know with undergrad they place a lot of importance on things like personal statements and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. I mean, I'm not too sure, but for grad med, in my experience, they don't worry too much about your personal statements.
Mm-hmm.
It's more done just on kind of evidence of passion for medicine.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
with Warwick, it's like if you don't have that work experience,
Mm-hmm.
then that's you don't get any further in your application
Mm-hmm.
because they want to know that you are invested and that you know the
Mm-hmm.
reality of it. So there wasn't too much opportunity for me to kind of showcase that.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess in interviews as well,
Mm-hmm.
in my experience with Warwick anyway, they really look. I don't want to like say too much because I can't
Yeah.
give too
Yeah.
much away. But
Yeah.
I got the sense that they're looking at you as a person
Yeah.
and not an
Mm-hmm.
academic
Yeah.
as much.
Mm-hmm.
So coming from that non-science background and being more creative and having experience like with
Mm-hmm.
people and talking to people and I feel like you do really well in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good advice in general. I think there's some universities which do test academics at interview for sure. But I think it was a similar vibe from Bristol. Was you've done your UK CAT, you've got them to interview. What are you like as a person? Are you
Yeah.
easy to talk to? If I was a patient, would I want to talk to you? So I think just having those skills in general set up quite well. So how has it been on starting in this environment? Have you been able to meet people still, like on your course? And how has it been kind of bonding as a group from people with so many different backgrounds?
It has been difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So in our first term, we were in for half a day a week,
Mm-hmm.
and then the latest lockdown, we were
Mm-hmm.
meant to start placement,
Okay.
um, and placements got cancelled, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
and our face-to-face got stopped.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just started again, so that's good.
Nice.
So yeah, like there is probably about 100 plus people that I haven't met on my
Mm-hmm.
course. um,
Yeah.
but having said that, they have made effort to make sure that the people that we do meet, we get to know, and
Mm-hmm.
we see our CBL groups virtually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, hopefully, I'm hoping that as things improve, we'll get
Mm-hmm.
to kind of meet and mingle a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's been different, that's for sure.
Yeah. And so your placement, so what placement would you have had in your first year?
Yeah, so we would have had bedside teaching. So I'm not actually sure what it's like normally for first years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think normally you go in to the hospital every Friday for anatomy and clinical skills
Mm-hmm.
from your first week in
Yeah.
your first year. And then I think from term 2, you go in every couple of weeks for bedside teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's that you're like set in a specific area. I
Mm-hmm.
think you might just kind of float around a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just because, you know, they want you to get that experience early on, ready for second year where you go a lot more into placements. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's not been possible for us, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think so. It's difficult for a lot of people. And outside of the course, has there been time for like any extracurriculars? I know they're obviously limited with like the pandemic at the moment, but has there been room for stuff outside medicine?
I think some people in their first year on grad med definitely make time for it, and
Mm-hmm.
you definitely can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that you can't, you absolutely can. If it's really that important, you can. And I
Mm-hmm.
know there are people that do loads, and I don't know how they do it. But
Yeah.
me personally, um I think I just need all the time I can get to sort of
Mm-hmm.
study. I obviously do take breaks and stuff. And I think if
Mm-hmm.
we weren't in a pandemic, there are a couple of things I would have gotten involved in,
Mm-hmm.
um, because it's all kind of stopped now anyway. Um, yeah, I think it's harder probably on grad med to find time to do these
Mm-hmm.
things, but it's still doable because people do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe perhaps going into kind of your third, fourth, and fifth year, the balance might even out.
I think so.
Yeah, perfect. And thinking kind of going forward, are there any particular specialities you've got your eye on that you're interested in? Do you think like your past experiences have influenced that at all, or are you still just really open-minded to it?
I am really open-minded. I think
Mm-hmm.
when I came in, I thought I want to do A&E. I've
Okay.
kind of always thought that, and that's still definitely up there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we just did neuro, so
Mm-hmm.
we did basically we do like 5-week blocks for each body
Okay.
system in first year where you just
Mm-hmm.
cram
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoyed neuro, so
Mm-hmm.
I am thinking maybe something in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm really open-minded actually. And then I sometimes I think, oh, surgery would be amazing. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Got the feeling that kind of every rotation you'd be like, oh, this is really cool for this and this reason, and then the next one you'd be like, oh, but I really like
Yeah,
this about this. So it's just sometimes perhaps people's previous experiences can really lead them towards particular specialties or away from them
yeah.
potentially as well. Where did you do your HCA? Like, were you in a particular ward for your HCA work, or?
Yes, yeah, so at Southmead, I worked on a general medical ward for about a
Okay.
year,
Mm-hmm.
and then I wanted to kind of spread out a bit, so I
Mm-hmm.
did bank for about a year and a
Okay.
bit.
Yeah.
I did work a lot on a neuro ward there, and I
Mm-hmm.
really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So that might have been a sign.
Yeah, perfect. Um, so, thinking about people that might be in a similar position to you applying, what did you find like helpful in the lead up to the application, or what gave you, I suppose, that confidence or that moment where you're like, I could do this. This is for me as well as science grads.
I think at the beginning I definitely felt quite alone in the
Mm-hmm.
process because
Mm-hmm.
it just, and I think to my family and friends as well, it felt very strange that I was making this transition.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think one of the things that helped me was definitely getting online and finding other people that were doing the same. I
Mm-hmm.
think, you know, I think I found a random blog from a grad med student, and
Mm-hmm.
she had written a post that said like, oh hey, I got all C's in my GCSEs and now I'm a qualified doctor. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just seeing people that had already done it
Mm-hmm.
gave me that boost that I needed, I think, to apply. and make me think, okay, if they can do it, then I
Mm-hmm.
can do it. I think without that, I would have struggled. So that was great that I found that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think once I started working in a hospital and I realized that I enjoyed the environment
Mm-hmm.
and that I could sort of, obviously it's very different being a doctor to being a HCA, but,
Mm-hmm.
at that level, I could manage the stress of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that I had, loved all the experiences that I'd had so far. I think
Mm-hmm.
that combined kind of made me think that I could do it.
Yeah, perfect. And then starting the course, if you were to start again, and I know it's been a few months, but if you were to start again, would you have kind of, has it been different in any way that you expected? Or if you were to start again tomorrow, would you approach anything slightly differently at all? Or any advice for someone if they were to start tomorrow?
So I would say to someone if they were starting
Mm-hmm.
for grad med or undergrad or
Mm-hmm.
anything, definitely don't feel like you have to know everything. I
Mm-hmm.
think that was something that I really didn't understand when I
Mm-hmm.
started, especially being non-science. The first block, I think I took like I said to someone the other day that I think I took
Mm-hmm.
like 500 pages of notes or something in my first 5 weeks
Mm-hmm.
because I thought I had to know everything on every slide of
Mm-hmm.
every lecture. But that's just not true. Like you
Mm-mm.
can't possibly learn
Mm-mm.
everything.
No.
So just do your best. That's what I would say, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And don't worry if you get behind. Everyone gets behind.
Yeah. Even if they say they're not, they're probably
Yeah.
still behind. Yeah.
Yeah.
How have you found the competitiveness, like being on a grad course? Um, yeah, is it a particularly competitive environment, or is it quite collaborative?
I don't think so at all. I
Yeah.
think Warwick is probably one of the least. I mean, I don't know what other
Yeah.
unis are like, but
Mm-hmm.
I know that they do pride themselves on trying to make the environment as uncompetitive as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone is so up for helping each other.
Mm-hmm.
If you're struggling, someone will help you, someone will sit down with you and go through things.
Mm-hmm.
The lecturer is always there to go over things with you as well,
Mm-hmm.
over Zoom or Teams. And I think they said to us at the beginning of the year, like, there's no need for you to be competitive because
Mm-hmm.
you can all pass and you will all
Mm-hmm.
pass and you can all become doctors. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
not a case that, only 50% of you will
Yeah.
succeed and that you have to
Mm-hmm.
compete. There's no need for it. So, yeah, I really like that there isn't any. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what other places are like. I've heard that there are some places that are competitive, but
Yeah, yeah, I'd say obviously I can only share the experience that I have, but I'd say it's similar in that, yeah, they say, if you've passed, you've that the bar isn't set low, the
yeah.
bar is set at a high standard, and if you pass, that's great. Everyone, could be doctors. I suppose the thinking that grad med is so competitive to get into. Um, I suppose just wondering if the environment continued into the course, or it was kind of like a once you're on, actually it's nice. It sounds very supportive of everyone's backgrounds rather than, yeah, I suppose pitting people against each other, which is not very productive, is it?
I think so. And I think because it is so hard to get on, we
Mm-hmm.
all know that we've all worked incredibly hard to get to where we are. And so I think there
Mm-hmm.
is that sort of like mutual understanding of like it was so hard to get here. Now we're here. Let's all just like work together to
Mm-hmm.
try and get through it. So I mean, I'm sure there are people that are
Mm-hmm.
competitive,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like it'll be on an individual basis, not like an atmosphere or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you so much for talking today. I'm sure you're an absolute inspiration for people from, yeah, non-science backgrounds, the arts, to actually back themselves to go, yeah, and apply for medicine. Um, we'll link your social medias below if that's okay, and then people can
Yeah,
follow your
that's fine.
journey, and they can, like you said, you can hopefully be that for someone else in showing that you're doing this, it's going really well, it sounds like you're really enjoying it. So yeah, hopefully we can inspire some non-science grads to,
I hope
yeah,
so.
go into medicine. So yeah, so thank you so much for giving me some time today.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
having me.
No, it's okay, I'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.